Blessings, Cody Coyote. I'm going to show you how to make natural cordage out of cedar bark. I just wanted to start here, kind of show you where I'm at, the type of environment, and what cedar bark looks like. This is the Pacific Northwest. Absolute beauty, of course. I don't know if you can hear a word I'm saying, but here's a cedar tree. And this is actually not the bark we're going to go after. You can see you'd have to get pretty down in there to get something that's workable to do cordage with. I'll show you what I'm looking for here in a second. Okay, so this is kind of what I'm looking for. There's this downed cedar here, and what I want is these little branches here seem to have nice inner bark that's not, the outside hasn't become too thick and coarse. So I'm going to harvest some of this real fast, and I'm going to go find a place to sit down and show you how to make twine out of it.
Down the streams, through these rivers, through these rocks, a wind slingshot.
Okay, so now that we've harvested our stick from that down cedar, I'm going to show you a little bit why I choose that kind of cedar. This here is from more fresh cedar, and you can tell by the really wet wood. I just peeled this off with my knife and trying to get to some bark that I could use to twist up. The outside is too brittle. It's the part that it's exposed to the sun, and the inside doesn't want to separate from the cambium layer yet. It's just too fresh. So I think there's kind of a fine line, because if it's too old, it just becomes brittle. So, taking this stick that we had here, kind of you can peel any length, but I'm just doing this to make it a little bit easier. We go and peel off this, what we can get here. Might even use a knife to kind of go in there and make a line here. So that kind of lifted some of that up, and as you can see, it separates from the wood a lot easier than that wet one did. And right in there, we've got some usable fiber. This whole piece has got really good usable fiber in there. Hasn't been dead for too long. It might even fell this winter. It's spring right now. So once we get to this point, it's still kind of damp in here. We want to basically kind of go and like snap it in half. And what this will do is break the outside that's hard, and you can just peel that off, and this is that bark peel off the hard bark on the outside, and it leaves you with this softer stuff on the inside, the inner bark, or cambium, or maybe that's wrong, but I feel like it's cambium, inner bark that hasn't been exposed to the sun and elements. And from this point, you could rip it off in little strips as thick as you're going to need it. You know, you could do this longer, of course. This is just as long as I decided to do it, just for demonstration purposes anyway. So we'll go ahead, you know, it's going to be a standard 2-strand twist, and I have another video with poplar bark that showing this technique as well. But this is a little bit different because it's not as malleable as poplar bark is, I don't believe. So I kind of want to work this a little bit and just make it a little bit more workable. I mean, maybe even dip it in a creek. Get it wet, and try rolling it in between your fingers just to make it more workable. I've soaked them overnight, worked with them the next day, and they seem to work really well. So from this point, it's really just the standard 2-strand twist, which is twisting, holding it like this, twisting this one this way, and this one this way, and creating that bend, and then it starts to twist on itself. And, you know, the way that I typically do this is hold it like right here to get started, twist it forward, then behind itself, twist this one forward, then behind itself, so it wraps around each other. I'll come closer and show you this. There's other video out there showing this, but I also have one. So this is what we're doing here. We're going to take this top strand, twist it forward, and then behind this one, then twist this one forward and behind this one. So it just continues twisting the same direction. They're both going that way. So I could actually hold this just like this and keep twisting them both the same direction to my right, and they'll start wrapping around each other to make some cordage, some twine. I'll show you how to add into this real fast. So here, take a second piece here, dip it in the water, kind of do the same thing, get it a little rounded, malleable. This way it just twists better without breaking. Once it's twisted up, the tensile strength becomes a lot more than it is now. So from here, I basically would just match this cord on top of this piece to make it seem like it's one long piece. And do the exact same thing I was doing, holding it together, just twisting that forward and twisting the other one over it. So it's just an extension of this piece here to add in. And you just kind of keep going from there. When a piece like this is really thick, a bigger piece, you might start with a piece that tapers off, how it's big down here and smaller down here, and add the smaller piece in. That way it kind of keeps its same consistent size all the way. So there it is. You can keep on going and keep on going. Show you kind of the end result here. This here is Cedar Bark cordage. I can show you up close. This is it. This is it wet, just starting. This is it dry, and it's pretty dang strong. There of course is stronger fibers out there. One that's local to my area is nettle. But you can make cordage out of quite a bit of things as long as the fibers are strong by themselves. Then they're going to be a lot stronger once you do this two-strand twist and get them bound together. So that's it for Cedar Bark natural cordage. Blessings. Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe, comment, like. Namaste.
And as we soar through this vast outer space, we realize